Hi, this is Rob Yates, and this is the video for Homework 3 of Unit 3. Please always remember to put your full name and first and last, and the period that you are in math. Alright, let's look at question 1. It says simplify the expression below. Do not leave any negative exponents or exponents that are 0, and show all your work and verify that your answers are correct. Alright, A says x to the 4th, y to the 5th, over y to the 6th times x to the 6th, y to the 2nd, over x to the 3rd. Well, as we know, when we multiply exponents, we add them together. So if we were A, you would do something like your x to the 4th would add to your x to the 6th, and you'd get x to the 10th. And your y to the 5th would add to your y squared to give you y to the 7th. We need to remember, however, that that's going to be over x to the 3rd, y to the 6th. Well, when we divide, we know that we have to subtract 10 minus 3 is x to the 7th. 7 minus 6 is y. There is your answer. Remember, when you do parentheses, that you have to multiply, since it's a power of a power, every item inside the parentheses. That includes the 2. So you have to be 2 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, y to the 6th, because 2 times 3 is 6. To be simplified, you have to multiply out 2 to the 3rd. What is that? Alright, number 2. For each large rectangle shown below, write the area as a sum and a product. Alright, it gives us a generic rectangle, and we know that 7 times 11 is 77. 3 times 11 is 33. 7 times 8 is 56. And 3 times 8 is 24. Sorry, that's not a very good 4. 24. So our product is easy. We have to just put it in parentheses and show the sides that are multiplied by each other. In this case, 7 plus 3 times 11 plus 8. And our sum is the total areas added up together. What is 77 plus 33 plus 56 plus 24? When you come up with that, that is your product. Or excuse me, your sum. Over here, when we come up with the sum, it's pretty easy because we got x squared and x squared. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x's and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. But how do we do a product? Well, we have to look at the sides. Remember to put them in parentheses. This side is an x, just like this side is an x. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's an x. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So one side is x plus 2, and the other side is 2x, because I've got 2x plus 4. I'll let you multiply that out for the sum, but there's your product answer. Okay, let's look at 3. It says solve the equations below and verify that your answers are correct. In each of these 3 instances, our variable is being divided by something. So, what do we need to do to get rid of a divisor? Well, we have to multiply. We have to do the opposite of division. So, for instance, on A, it says x divided by 6 equals 2.5. Well, I want to know what x is, not what x divided by 6 is. To get rid of that 6, I have to multiply it by 6. Each side, or otherwise it's not legal. 6 times x over 6 is x. And 6 times 2.5 is 15. That's your answer. You have to approach it similarly for B and C. Remember to multiply by the number that it's being divided by. Alright, number 4 says find the slope and the y-intercept for the following equation. The f of x equals negative 2x minus 8. And it wants to know what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Well, this is review, but just to refresh your memory, this is in the y equals mx plus b form, where m equals your slope and b equals your y-intercept. So, what's m and what's b here? Number 5 says find the equation of the line that goes through the following points and show your work. Alright, remember to find the slope, which is what we have to do first of all. We have to use the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 formula. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. Sorry, that's a 2, can't see it very well. So, to fill this out, I would do negative 1 minus 8 minus 8 over 4 minus negative 2. I put that in parentheses to set it off to remind me that I have two negatives there because that's important, isn't it? Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9. 4 minus negative 2 is 4 plus 2, which is 6. So that's my slope, which I can also reduce to negative 3 over 2. Now, to find out what my b is, I have to put in one of these 2 points to that slope and leave b the variable that I don't know. For instance, I could say 8, because that's y1, equals negative 3 divided by 2 times negative 2 plus b. So that means 8 equals 3 plus b. If I subtract 3 from each side, I get 5 equals b. I didn't have enough room to show you to subtract 3. I'm hoping you remember from Unit 2 and Unit 1. So if 5 is my b, let me circle it here for you. And if 3 over 2, negative, is my m, what is my equation? What is my y equals mx plus b? I think you can figure it out from there. And while you're doing that, let's move on to page 2. Alright, the first problem on page 2, or the back of the page, says use the distributive property to simplify the expressions below and verify your answers are correct. Well, we're just using the distributive property, which means it's 3 times each term in the parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times positive 2 is plus 6. Now, to verify that, I could just plug in a number. Let's see, 3 times 3 plus 6 equals 15. What about 3 times 3 plus 2, which equals 3 times 5? Does that equal 15? It does, so it checks. Do the same for B and C and D and verify with 3 or a larger number. Number 2 says, find the total area of each rectangle below. Each number inside represents the area of a smaller rectangle within, while each number outside represents the side length of that portion of the side. It's just a fancy way of saying that that's 11, that's 4, and we have to figure out what these other sides are. 4 times what equals 12? Well, it's 4 times 3, isn't it? 3 times what equals 39? Well, it's 3 times 13. So this is 13, this is 3, that's 11. Fill in your brackets. 4 times 11, 44. 11 times 13, what does that add up to? Multiply out to. And then, what does the entire area add up to? So you want to have a list for the total area. For example, 11 times 13. Oh, let's see. That'd be 124, I believe. No, it would not be 124. It would be 11 times 13, 143. Sorry, that's a terrible 143, but that's what's supposed to be there. So I've got 143 plus 44 plus 12 plus 39. My total area is 238 units squared. Do the same thing for this one over here, and you'll have a complete number 2. Number 3 says solve the equation for x, show your work, and verify your answer. So, real briefly, a is much like what we did on the first page. I have to multiply by the divisor, each side times 6. That means x would equal, what is 6 times 10? If you know that, you know the answer. Over here we would add 5 to each side and then divide by 2. Likewise here, we need to get all our x's on one side, our y's on the other. For D, all you need to do is get the cube root of each side. The cube root of x to the 3 is easy. What is the cube root of 343? Remember to do that, you go math button, 4, plug in 343, and hit enter on your calculator, and you will get a number. If you have any further questions, remember you can see your math teacher in your room. Come see them after school, come see them before school. There are tutors in the library who speak Spanish before and after school. I'll see you in class.